Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and great to see that we've already had Caroline joining us. So, I think it's about time to get started, isn't it? Isn't it, Gareth? But for anybody that's listening, and I know people are coming in all the time, so Hitton, we missed you on the workshop. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Hello, James. Look, stop me at any time, put a question in the chat box. I can put that to Gareth. Gareth, how long have we worked together now? Is it now? Oh, it ages us, doesn't it? So we don't really want to say. But
I'm going to say 2, but I think it's 3, isn't it? Is it 3
yeah,
years?
I think it's 3
now?
years. It's 3 years.
No.
And having known Gareth for 3 years, he's a very open book. He will be totally honest with you. So please put those questions in. Right, let me introduce you. Well, Gareth left the Big Four to set up his own pension audit business. And for many of us, we're thinking, oh, that doesn't sound very exciting. But I think, Gareth has very much made this niche his own, has created a brilliant business. At the time he kind of left the Big Four, a lot of people said to him, that's madness, mate. What are you doing that for? But actually, since then, he's grown that specialist audit practice to be very well known in the marketplace, highly regarded. And as he said, it's knocking on the door of £1 million in turnover. For something that supposedly is meant to be an outdated service that's going to die, you're very much making hay while the sun shines, and making good hay as well. Now, some of us would go, trying to build a specialist audit pension practice, do you need to do anything else? Well, that wasn't enough for Gareth. So he decided to challenge himself 3 years ago. Because what he found with running a specialist audit practice was that he could not get the advisor he wanted. He could get either a brilliant cloud-based accountant that couldn't give him the service, or he could get brilliant service from a traditional type accountancy firm, but he couldn't get both. And that was the impetus for Gareth to set up Progress Accounting. So why don't you tell me, Gareth, just a little bit of a potted history of the growth of your two businesses?
Okay, so set up Ashore in 2012, Progress 2018. Ashore has grown completely organically, so we grow by either direct marketing or we grow by referral. A lot of it's done by referral. Progress has been more of a problem child, but now it's starting to grow following an acquisition we made, and now we're starting to do everything more. We've got the amount of clients you need to grow a practice now.
And I think it's really interesting to go. A lot of the time, don't you? We see it out there on social media. We see I'm crushing it. I landed 30 clients last month. I'm having to close my door, or I've grown by 100 grand, 200 grand. And I think part of what I wanted to talk about today was to help people realize that you're only seeing people's edited highlights reel. And actually, a lot of these people that we see as supposedly doing really well, I often then see under the bonnet and go, no, that's not great. And very often they have to scale back to scale forward. So for those of you that aren't quite feeling it in the same way, please take some comfort. Is that the right word? That for every successful business owner out there that's an accountancy firm owner, there's another one that's learning the hard way. And I think what I wanted to do is, a lot of what we're going to talk about is how you have learned the hard way, how you have turned around a problem child. So let's talk about Ashore first. What accelerated the growth with Ashore?
I think so. We're putting a plan in place, a sales and marketing plan, the resource and capacity plan to make sure that we could cope with the amount of work that was coming through with us, because once we had a winning combination, it was surprising how the referral business started to come. So making sure that we could cope with that, building a great team beneath me so that I don't deal with everything, a great culture. So we're quite open. We speak to each other quite open and honestly, and deal with issues quickly, putting KPIs in place that we monitor, and also detect early warning, early warning of something going wrong. For example, tracking our conversion rate for proposals. Are we winning enough? Are we getting enough proposals? And also using LinkedIn properly has been a big part of our success.
Yeah, you labeled me a rainmaker because of how I showed you how easy it was to win work. But
and you are.
wouldn't say am, but I think there's a big point that I want to take out of here. I see a lot of growing firms have a sales and marketing plan in place. You see that, don't you? It's almost like, I'm growing, here's my sales and marketing plan, particularly those that are what I would do saying growing with purpose. But very often there isn't that resource capacity plan as well. And that's what often makes us stuck in the wrong place. I've seen in our business, not quite having the right people doing the right things has held us back by about 2 years. And I think it's really important for people to take this message that once you get above that 150, 200K, it's more important to have that team plan, that resource, that capacity plan, those KPIs, that building out that great culture. Because when I think about who in the club is the man or woman or person who is really exemplifies how to lead and build a great team, I think of Gareth. I think of Gareth every single time. And I know you, Gareth, your audits can be anything from 5K to 100K. And actually, when you think about that, every time one of those lands, that's quite a big resource drain, particularly if it's the big one. So we often don't realize it. And you mentioned it, Gareth, you get to a certain point in your practice where you've got it right. The service is right, the price is right, the people underneath you is right. You're no longer this stressed business owner, and then suddenly whoosh, the referrals come.
Yeah.
If you're not ready for that, if you've not thought about it, it can actually derail you. So let's look at what you call your problem child. That I know, actually, you smile like that, but you and I know that actually we're seeing some great, green shoots. I'm actually at the first point going, this is going to happen. So what accelerated the growth with Progress?
So for Progress, I grew the first business organically. I decided that I was a little bit more impatient this time, and I decided to, after we got a few clients in, we bought a practice, just a small practice, just to have a to understand how the process worked and get used to it. However, it's all about getting the right people in place. So over the course of 24 months, we've probably replaced the whole team. And now we've got the right team in place. And my clients often say to me, "Oh, we really love XYZ," and I go, "No, you're going to love the new one even more." And that's the case. It's all about finding the right people for your team. It's all about getting the right, streamlining the processes so that we're scalable. So you don't want to have a impact that is it's got to be consistent. You've got to consistently wow clients. Constantly reviewing the communication to clients and the whole team to make sure everybody's on the same page and we're meeting expectations. Also reviewing client fees so that the right level. There's no point doing work where you're actually making a loss on it. Every client needs to pay their way. We're now starting to get new clients organically due to investment in service and service levels, and also the profile of teams growing as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a really good point here is, I think there's a certain amount of disdain, isn't there, Gareth, in the marketplace for those that buy their growth. And you know what? I don't care how you grow, as long as it's sustainable and as long as it's profitable and as long as it's meeting your end game. And for you, you wanted that fast start. You wanted to basically be able to plug in a team, plug in a practice to that team, and then get that working really well and then accelerate from there. And that's a different approach to how a lot of people think about building their accountancy practice. It's more of an investor approach, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there are more ways than one. So let's kind of get into a bit of those ambulance car crash type moments. Yeah, I can see you smiling. Oh no, this is going to be embarrassing. It's not. We've all been there. My business well enough to know that I've been there too. So what would you have done differently with Progress? We've talked about it being a problem child.
I think if I did it all again, I'd be a bit more patient. I believed it would accelerate the success by buying a practice. It actually created a lot of frustration in our team, and I just need to be more patient. Results didn't come as quickly as I thought they would do. Perhaps less trusting of some team members, on hindsight, and also getting rid of unlucky team members quicker. You did tell me this a few times, but I wanted to give them a chance, and unfortunately it just didn't work out. So you've got to cut them. I've always been told by yourself and others to, hire slowly and fire fast. I should have fired faster, was the truth, but on hindsight. But these things, I'd probably just be a bit more hands-on with it all. But you live and you learn, don't you, really?
And I think you and I had a certain naivety, didn't we, with this setup? You were like, you could provide me the blueprint, I'll get the clients, I'll get the team in there.
Yeah.
And we did have the blueprint.
Yeah.
But actually, we didn't get the right team members on the bus.
No.
And I'm pretty sure those team members, there's a right bus for them. They weren't bad people or anything like that.
No, definitely.
But, one of your core great traits is you want to invest in people, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And interestingly, what we find is that there is never the perfect business owner, is there, Gareth?
Certainly not.
Never is the perfect business owner. And very often our strengths, when they become overplayed, then become our weaknesses. So your strengths are being very nurturing, building that great team, giving everybody a second, third, fourth chance, which in your history has actually turned around some people and made them great team members.
Yep, so.
But it's very interesting, in the early days, we needed someone to hit the ground running, to really get your vision. And I'm pretty sure we've got those people now, but it took a while. It took a bit of a kissing of a frog type stuff.
Yeah.
And so, we're being really honest here. You're hearing about a 3-year struggle to get a practice off the ground. And we wouldn't be talking about it now unless you and I truly believe that practice was about to start motoring. The organic leads are coming in place, got a great setup, the marketing is coming together. We're seeing that sudden acceleration, and it's exciting. But you've faced a lot of knockbacks, some of them personal, some of them professional. I remember a key point where there was an insurance quote that was business ending. For no reason. Absolutely no reason. Not that you've been a dodgy whatever, but absolutely no reason. So how do you come back from these knockbacks? Because they've hit you time and time again. How do you be this swan that I see?
I suppose it's all about not reacting on emotions too much. It's about thinking about it's all about just think there is a way to solve this. Whatever's in front of you, it can be solved. It may not be solved overnight, may not be solved instantly, but it's just a question of taking time back, thinking, what do you know about, who do you know that might be able to help you? Perhaps reach out to your market, and who can help you going forward as well. So it's always about thinking, well, what's next? What's plan A? What's plan B? What's plan C? And just keep trying, and just trying to reframe those knockbacks. You might be down, but you're not out. Personally, I've got some key strengths. The resourcefulness, learner, positivity. That they are my strengths. So it's having options, thinking about options, asking others for options. Don't panic as well. I put on there. I am very level-headed. So when things happen, it's like, well, what can we do? And get your team together, get your team to help you. I don't make a problem bigger than it is. When you look at a problem and you think in 2 weeks' time, will this still be a problem, or will it be, no, we've moved on to another one? And surround yourself with good people, to advise you. The Accountants Growth Club, the members of the Accountants Growth Club are also fantastic. And after leaving the Big Four, I've built my network of non-accountants to help and support me.
And it's interesting. It's almost like now you've just built your network of peers. And I wanted to pick something up, is that very often as a business owner, when we get these knockbacks, our mind goes to the worst case scenario, straight into worst case scenario. And it's really, and one of the things I've noticed, and that might come as anxiety, that might come as the constant, of that head ruminate. I can't say the word. It's not ruminating, but basically just thinking over it and thinking over it and thinking over it. And actually, that's often really unhelpful. you know, and you and I are both advocates of meditation, of meditative techniques. And actually this really does help. You know, the great thing was this morning, I sensed that I sensed a bit of anxiety, and I sensed my mind going into a circle, and I went, no, the reality is, look, that's just rejection. You know, that's just me feeling rejected. That's what my mind's meant to do. And you know what? As soon as you name the emotion, it allows you to step back. It allows you to step back from that bit of panic. It allows you to get that perspective. And this is, I think this is what's really important. Too often, we don't have that time just to step back and go, hang on a minute, that's not real. And you're really good at going, okay, this is the gap. How do I solve this gap? And as I know you're very resourceful. You don't panic. You know, you look at the probability as well. You go, are the odds in my favor? If I'm in my favor, I'm with it. Otherwise, I need another plan.
Yeah,
and that's I've seen you do that many times. So we joked a bit about you calling me a rainmaker and me not owning it. Okay, I'll own it. I'm pretty good at this.
You're very good at it. Yeah.
But it was all because I showed you how to properly use LinkedIn. So what did you do differently? Because this is a pension audit practice. This is not a, hey, I'm going to get loads and loads of personal tax stuff. It's not about getting dross. This is like big pieces of work, isn't it? You're consistently overachieving your new business target, and you put it down to LinkedIn. So what do you do differently?
So, you know, some of the things that we've done is, you know, personally, I've gone from being an active observer to regularly posting and commenting on LinkedIn. You'll see me there quite a lot. You know, proactively connecting with referrers and broadening my network even further than what it is now. You know, talking about the difference of what we do. That's what, you know, what is different becoming to Ashore UK than somebody else. You know, when we tried in the past, we actually gave up too soon. So we didn't actually give the strategy enough time to actually work. Whereas this time we have been consistent. We know we've been consistent, and we've kept at it. You know, we're sharing our knowledge online and offline. You know, when I say give it time, I mean it took us 6 to 9 months to see the results that we're seeing now, and we are seeing a regular flow of leads from LinkedIn. And you know, that and our clients, that's our best source of business.
Yeah, and I think some really important points here is, if you're going to use something like LinkedIn or Instagram, use it with purpose. Dipping in and out is just going to be a waste of time. And what I see a lot of people not doing on LinkedIn is not really thinking through their content strategy. And I know you went and you knew who was saying the truth, that they earn pretty much most of their business through LinkedIn, that are an accountant. And you went back to every single one of their posts and analyzed what were they doing. Yeah. And what that did was gave you a bit of a formula. You know, you're very good, as you said, one of your key strengths is learning. That gave you a bit of a formula. And one of the things that you are talking about, and it's often story based, is all about your difference. It's not Ashore or Progress are brilliant. It's just emphasizing through stories, through getting people's emotions. And interestingly, what you then did was you're like, okay, this is working. But you then got a content writer, happens to be our content writer in the club. And then what happened to your LinkedIn?
Well, we're already doing quite well. And then we had a 50% improvement on all our posts. So that is, you know, by paying for the content, you know, you don't need to think about being witty or knowledgeable. You know, they do it for your own. I still do my own comments, but the content is, here's an idea, and you know, the club helped me with that content.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Becky loves working with you, and I think I just want to go back that this is, when you're thinking about marketing, often we're chucking stuff against the wall. And actually, when you've got an inkling that something is working, it's then about going, how do we get, because your mindset is, how do we get the 1% better? How do we get the 1% better? How do we get the 1% better? And then your mindset is, who can do it for me? Yes, it's never about, I'm going to do this. And I think this is a key thing when you're scaling, is not to hang on to everything, is to go, right, let me get this working well. Let me look for those improvements, look for those and then get somebody else to do it. without losing the essence of it. So as he said, you still do the commenting, you still come up with the ideas, but you sit there and you talk with Becky once a month to do it. So a lot of people want their team to get involved in the marketing. And you and I have had long conversations about this in the past.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those that we've still been learning, but you and I both think we've now got your team to step up and use LinkedIn.
Yes.
How did you get them to make that change? What was the difference? How did we finally do it?
Some team members have changed. Some team members have retired or moved on. Plus our younger ones have now qualified, and they want to progress their career. I've got some team members that are going through coaching at the moment as well, and we putting internal accountability, well, both external accountability and internal accountability to help them. We have weekly accountability meetings about what they're doing. If they get a problem or they're really stuck, just contact me. We have good communication in the business. Our marketing executive Nash has also stepped up to help them as well. So there's a lot of support, and we just don't give in. We don't give in. I've got a little sign behind me that says never give up. That's what we just keep going. When we think it's going to work, we just keep going.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people give up too soon, don't they?
Yeah.
And there's you and I that there's a conversation to be had about some of your people leavers. Yeah. We probably should have given up a lot quicker on that. But actually, particularly when it comes to marketing, particularly when it comes to get people to really step up from what you hired them to do to what they do, it's about time, it's about patience, it's about development, it's about accountability. So I see you as one of our real core experts about getting a strong team beneath you. You've done that not just in one business, but now in 2 businesses. And and as we've been honest with people, you had to swap everybody out of Progress over a 24-month period to put the right people back in. So what were your key moves? What are the critical stuff that people need to know about this?
It's about getting the right people on the bus. If you haven't got the right people on the bus, then you've got to be happy that they're all pointing in the right direction, on the same page as you. We did things like mugs. I actually think this was something you said in passing, Heather.
Yes.
Which I think has turned out to be one of the best things. Every team member has their own team mug. I think I've posted on LinkedIn this before, where it has your name on it, and it tells you our 3 things that we're interested in that year. Which growth. So every time they have a cup of tea or a glass of water, they have their mug, and they can see that we're after growth. We're also after client feedback. We want to know what clients like and what they don't like, so we can keep improving this 1% improvement. And then the last one would be niggle free. It's all about making everything in the business as simple and easy as possible and safe as possible as well. We've got some team coaching and accountability in place to help them as well. So that helps them. Weekly accountability meetings, looking at the projects they're running to make sure, well, how are you going? Are you stuck on anything? Do you need any help? Do you need any assistance? I think before lockdown, we did a lot of personal bonding or people bonding, whereas a team, we just did a lot of stuff together, ranging from Zorb football, pizzas, awards dinners. There was a stack of stuff there we did. And even during lockdown, I think a lot of my team were worried that we were going to close our office, and actually that wasn't the case. It was we just wanted to check to make sure everybody was coping well working remotely. We've worked on internal culture systems to get the hybrid working for the team. One of the things that we noticed we were behind on is our HR system. So our accounting's obviously in the cloud. We've got our HR in the cloud now as well. We're always doing temperature checks as well about how are the people. And if we spot something's wrong, we actually use an independent consultant, HR consultant, to help us investigate and remedy the problem as well.
I think let's go back to the mugs.
I love the mugs. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, and so we I noticed when I was going into these, with my housemate partner hat on, I was going into these big firms, and particularly the ones that were trying to do the one firm culture, they'd all bring their personalized mug in.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh. So I was like, okay, let's get a mug for all of our team. And you'll be surprised. We're a virtual business. We're totally virtual. You'll be surprised how often we're in a meeting and they've got their mug. It's got their name on it. We do our 3 words. So growth, streamline, and nurture. Those are our 3 words. And they're there. And I kind of thought, oh, this is just something little, but you'll be surprised how much emotional attachment there is to their mug. You know, my family's not allowed to use my mug, by the way. It's not allowed. And it you know, for the cost of, you know, by the time we've, you know, it's not even it's less than 100 quid to get it sorted, but it makes a massive difference, because as you say, team members use it pretty much most days. They've got the visible reminder. So we use the 3-word philosophy, you know, what are your 3 words for the year? And it's something really simple, and people feel so valued. So our new team members get their mug. Don't forget your new team member, get their mug.
Yeah.
They also get a whole box of stuff. Yeah. Sadly, some of them get all my books, you know, all 6, 7 of them, and then they get the note, you don't have to read them. But absolutely. So we always send them the mug. We put often a little notepad in. We put normally some chocolate in. So we really personalize it, but they get their mug in that box. And so at the moment, you're facing some out of work personal challenges.
Yep.
And your role is changing. So you're less in the office, you're less involved in the day to day. How do you get your team to step up? What did you do? And, you know, this is probably now, once you've got this to happen, even though the reason why it needed to happen is negative, actually, this could be a really positive step forward. So how do you get your team to step up?
You know, I think it's about realizing that their traditional journey was going to be different. It was at a different pace to what I was going at. You know, this was really difficult. You know, I love being in the office, and obviously, you know, you sometimes don't give yourself credit for your expertise and insight. So we really had to unpick the expertise I bring to the office. So, and actually getting other people to take on those new roles to make sure, you know, when little things do go wrong, they're picked up quickly and eliminated. Little things are probably, as you know, as the founder or owner of your business, you just naturally do. You know, you put fires out very quickly and you don't let them grow. You know, we've got a leadership. We have a leadership team meeting with an external coach yourself, and then we have 2 key leadership team members who have one-to-one coaching as well. So we are, you know, this gap that I've created, we're trying to get people into the void, which is going to create opportunities throughout the whole organization. I think everybody's seeing an opportunity to step up and do more for the business, which will help them achieve their goals as well.
Yeah, and we were fortunate in the club is that we've got 3 great coaches. Now, I've worked with you personally for 3 years, but it was a good opportunity when we needed to jig it around for Dan to come in and be the key person. He brings fresh energy. He's an expert in culture, people, KPIs, and it's enabled me to work one-to-one with one of your team, and he's working one-to-one with the other. So we've got that flexibility, which I think has really helped. And I remember we were sitting down there and you're going, the team seem to be storming right now. Something's not right. And I remember we had this conversation. I said, well, Gareth, you've got there very quickly with this journey around this change. You've gone through transition. You're at closure. You're onto the plan. I said, they're not there yet. They're not, they can't read your mind. And we often forget that when these things happen to us, you know, our team, we need to potentially help them along the journey and do more of that communication. You know, I've got ankle surgery coming. Now suddenly occurred to me that nothing's going to go wrong, but there is that small chance that it's not just a day case. Small chance that something really negative happens. So I'm going to have to write a little note to 2 key people in my team and go, right, just in case, these people can sign off the bank. These people can do that. These people can do that. all of this sorts, but we often don't think about that, do we? We think, oh, everything's going to be fine, not a problem. And I think it's so important that whether this change comes because you've instigated it, or whether this change becomes because it's been forced on you, that you realize that your team, as you've got a great team, I know that, you know, now they've got their head around it, they've stepped up big time. But for a while we were like, oh, what are they going to do? They're not going to do. And I think it's really important to realize that it's about communication. It's about communication. It's about trust. It's about realizing that just because they haven't got it immediately doesn't mean to say they're not going to get it.
Very true. Yeah.
If you build the culture right at the start, it's going to make it happen. So we've got some great people on, and I'm seeing some club members. We've got Nash, who works in your team.
Oh, hi, Nash.
Yeah, Nash has been with us, I think, for most of the way. We've got Alex, club member. Great to see you. But what questions have you got for Gareth? You know, you've heard quite a little bit about his life story. You've heard about the problem child. You've heard about how he's got his team into place, how he's got him stuff through here, some of his marketing secrets and the generalized philosophy. But what questions have you got? Put them in the chat box. So I'm going to ask you one question, Gareth, while people are thinking of their questions. If you could do the last 3 years again, what would you change?
I think I was shortcutting success by buying a business. And actually, you know, when I set up Ashore UK, it was one client at a time, but I always had the client I wanted. And, you know, I turned away a lot of other work I didn't want. Whereas, you know, if I think I did it again, I mentioned during the, you know, my comments was be patient. And it was make sure you know what your niche is, make sure you know what your ideal client looks like, and really target those people, because you can give them extraordinary value. Whereas when you end up with 100 clients and there's not much commonality between them, it's actually very difficult to give everyone a wow experience, because it's just, you're creating nearly like 100 different unique experiences. Whereas I look at our audit and assurance side, and they get a lovely management findings report. Some of them get a benchmarking report as well. And I think, you know, we're even starting to do webinars now where we can give them more value. You know, I never want them to look at our fee and think we're expensive. I want to think, wow, that's great value for money.
Yeah, and this is a really important point here, is this isn't about having a niche. This is about having a target audience that have got a lot of commonalities, because a lot of people in the audience were thinking niche equals sector focus.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, if you really understand the commonalities, and yeah, they might just be small business owners, you can deliver that value. So I wanted to sum up with a few things. Is if you're going to grow your business much beyond 250k, as a business owner, the whole team culture, KPIs, getting the right people there, capacity, resource planning has got to feature as highly on your priority list as winning new business and servicing your current clients. Absolutely. I think that's the key message to come across. Another message for me is we will all get knockbacks, but it's how you respond to them that matters. It is about being able to take the step back, not to panic, to actually look at what's going on and go, well, what is the gap? And how do I put a plan in place to do that? Not getting caught up in the emotion of it, not kind of panicking, not letting your brain go, oh no, we're going to go to hell on a handcart and nothing we could do could stop that. You know, it is that real, let's take a step back, let's take a pause, let's kind of work out what's really going on to put a plan in place. So Gareth, it's been an absolute pleasure hearing your story. Thanks,
Heather. Yeah, thanks, Dan, and the rest of your team that help us and help my team as well. It's been a pleasure working with you.
We love working with you too. Gareth, if people want to get in touch with you, how should they do that?
So you can either find me on LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn Gareth, it would just be Gareth Burton, or my email address is gareth.burton@ashoreuk.co.uk. I'm happy to answer any questions that you've got.
Yeah, Gareth is one of our much loved members of the club. He's great at saying, look, just pick up the phone to me. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Gareth. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and we'll speak soon.
Have a great day. All the best. Bye.
Bye.